All right, so you think about moving to or somewhere within Colorado, and you're wondering about Denver. What are some of the pros and cons? Well, I'm going to give you a list based off some research I did and various websites that I looked at here to see what they were thinking. Hi, my name is Brian Ediger. I'm a real estate agent here in Colorado. Lived here for about half my life, give or take. And I'd love to show you around, give you the ins and outs, the good and the bad of all these different areas. And if you're ready to move, whether it's tomorrow or in a year from now, go ahead and send me a text or an email, give me a call. There's even a link down to my Calendly if you want to get on Zoom. So first and foremost, it is close to the mountains, and there's loads of outdoor activities to do. It's not like right up against the mountains either, so you do have a little bit of open space. Well, you do have a little bit of flat space here. There's not a whole lot of open space anymore. The Denver metro area itself has been built out quite a bit, though there are still some parks around. Another pro is that the snow removal is actually pretty decent in Denver and in the surrounding areas. You know, with all the snow we get, the snowplow drivers have a lot of practice. Now that's something you do want to keep in mind for a con too. Having had a few close calls with snowplow drivers, I don't know if it's that they can't really see what's going on around them or if they just don't really care, but you do need to be careful when you see a bunch of them coming down the highway or getting onto the highway. You need to be ready to slow down, back off, get out of their way, right? Now, another pro here in the Denver area, there are quite a few job opportunities, not only in the technical industry, but there's also the manufacturing industry. There's just a ton of different jobs that you could get, and maybe you're even moving here because your company has transferred you, right? Or they've offered you a step up, but you have to transfer to do that, right? Maybe that's why you're moving. Another pro about Denver and really Colorado in general is that it's actually pretty nice weather most of the time. On average, there's about 300 days a year of sunshine. Yeah, there are moments where we have some pretty bad weather and some blizzards. The winters lately haven't been that bad, honestly. But, if you have one or two bad days where it's raining a lot, snowing a lot, you can't get outside, don't worry. Eventually, it will come back and pretty quickly, and you'll be able to go out and have fun. There are a lot of beautiful, charming neighborhoods around. Some of the older homes are nice to look at. Unfortunately, there are some older homes being torn down, but we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. There are a lot of hole-in-the-wall places where you can try various kinds of food and drink, a lot of mom-and-pop shops. There are also some more expensive places. You got Eddie V's and Shanahan's and stuff like that. But also there's plenty of microbreweries, and I think there's some distilleries here as well. Stranahan's, not to be confused with Shanahan's from earlier, they make their whiskey here, and it's actually pretty good. Small little distillery. Of course, some people are big on 420. I'm not, but if that's something you want to do, there are plenty of dispensaries around here as well. And there are quite a few places to stay out late too, if that's your thing, if you like the nightlife. And whether you want to go to, a club with some rock or hip hop or whatever, or if you want to go to a country bar and find some line dancing, some two-step, some cha-cha, you've got your options there as well. Now, what about some cons? Well, firstly, we are called the Mile High City for a reason. Denver is literally a mile above sea level. And so if that's not something you're used to altitude-wise, that could be an issue. I have seen some people come here and get altitude sickness, and they had to go to the ER to get it figured out. One thing I would recommend, if you've never been this high before, is make sure you drink plenty of water before you come. Drink water while you're here, and drink water when you go back, right? You definitely want to make sure that you're prepared for the altitude. And those outdoor activities we talked about, if you're going to go climb a 14er, that's 14,000 feet, that's just under 3 times higher than Denver is. Again, you're going to make sure that you are hydrated and ready for it. Another con, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of construction. There's always construction going on somewhere. The public transportation is okay. I've never actually used it, but I think it's a little limited. We got the light rails that can go here and there, and we've got buses and whatnot. But it is something that I think is a bit of a con. I think we could have better things going on there. And going along with that, especially in Denver itself, it's limited parking, especially downtown Denver. When I was making deliveries, I always dreaded going into Denver to make a delivery because the parking is limited. I might find myself in a situation where if I'm not fast enough, I'm going to have to pay for parking. I would drive around for a few minutes just trying to find a place to park before I could actually go and make my delivery, which made my deliveries take longer than they should have. Within Denver itself, especially downtown Denver, there are a lot of one-way roads, a lot of roads that don't have that many lanes, and again, the parking is just limited, so you want to be careful about that. It is a high cost of living, right? There are either some really old homes that might need some help, which they're beautiful too, don't get me wrong there, right? Especially if they're kept up well. But some of these older homes too are being torn down, and newer, bigger homes are being built on them. And by bigger, I'm meaning like a one-story home going to a two-story home. They tend to keep the same footprint. There's reasons for that. Some benefits to the investor who's doing that to keep it as the same footprint, but they can build it taller. And of course, then they're more expensive as well. And I looked at RE Colorado. The median real estate pricing isn't much higher than the median for the state, right? Here in Denver, I think it was $50,000 more in Denver than it is, again, on median for the rest of the state. So it is a little bit more expensive. Rents can be really expensive too. Something to bear in mind if you're thinking about renting here. There is a lack of precipitation here, actually. Yeah, we do get some snow and rain and whatnot, but there is a lack of precipitation that raises the likelihood of wildfires out in the mountains and even on the Great Plains and different areas, and that smoke can make its way down to the Denver area, the Denver metro in general, and so that's something that's a bit of a con with all the wildfires that we've had. Another con is everyone is moving here. It's getting a little crowded, and even the outdoor places where you go hiking and whatnot are getting crowded too, unless you happen to know a really nice place to go that maybe isn't too far away, or if you're willing to go a little further out than normal where you can get away from folks if that's what you're wanting to do. Not to mention all the added traffic, right? And that's going to add to your travel times to get to the airport or DTC or some concert at Red Rocks or something along those lines. Now, the crime rate here in Denver is pretty high. Looking at neighborhoodscout.com, it's safer than 1% of U.S. cities. The amount of violent crimes is about 10.5 for every 1,000 residents. Property crimes are looking at about 63.5 for every 1,000 residents. So again, the crime rate is a little bit high. Yeah, those are the pros and the cons, the good and the bad. If you're looking to move into the area, or maybe even you want to look at selling, feel free to reach out to me. My contact info is in the description, and there's a link also for my Calendly if you want to get on Zoom and talk to me there. So until next time, God bless and happy hunting.